Rob Manfred is getting angry emails from fans, Matt. And this might be the funniest thing ever to me, that he like literally went and had a media appearance and interview and said, I keep getting emails from fans who are mad. In case those fans are wondering, Rob Manfred does not believe that the Dodgers are ruining baseball, was kind of the headline. But I guess my biggest question, Matt, is how do these people get his email address? I'd like to send Rob Manfred angry emails about things.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably out there. So I guess it's rob.manfred at MLB.com or something like that. But credit to Manfred's assistant for relaying some of these emails to him, because I find it hard to believe that Rob Manfred is the person reading the emails that he is apparently getting from angry fan bases. And again, look, I get the frustration and stuff. You and I have discussed this at nauseum, and Blake and Scott, like we all have. And I understand that the Dodgers are afforded certain luxuries from being a big market, from having a smart front office, from being in LA, all that stuff. Like there are advantages baked into that. I get it. But again, like Steven, is it Nesbitt from The Athletic?
Yeah.
He, shared something. I don't know if he was resharing something or just putting old info. Like the Pittsburgh Pirates haven't signed a free agent to a multi-year contract in like a decade or so. Like it was some crazy stat. And I know the Pirates are often mentioned in amongst these videos when we're using examples of other teams, shortcomings. But like, how is that possible? And if you're going to be upset with the Dodgers, fine. But then how are you going to allow a team like that to not sign, as long as I have it correctly, a free agent to a multi-year contract for that long of a time? Like it's inexcusable.
I just found the link that he quoted. So they have not signed. You're slightly off. It's not 10 years. Right. They have not signed a multi-year free agent contract since Daniel Hudson in 2017. So only 7 or 8 years here.
My apologies to the Pirates front office for being more aggressive there.
The record contract for an external free agent, so somebody who is not already on the Pirates, the most money they have ever given to an external free agent, Russell Martin in 2012, 2 years and $17 million. That's unbelievable. The record is 2 years and $17 million. Unbelievable. Again, Daniel Hudson, who's like out of the league. That's the longest, the last time they signed a multi-year contract.
And that's also a Pirates team that was like a fringe playoff team that was making a little bit of noise when they were getting in. And so like you're like that, just again, it's my biggest point about this whole thing is you have too many owners that just don't care about competing or actually want to win is my point. And I don't think that gets enough attention or criticism.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. You're spot on. He did mention, by the way, Rob Manfred, that the owners have discussed the merits of a salary cap. He did say he doesn't think the cap is the only sufficient remedy that they could pursue in a 2026 collective bargaining. That CBA expires in December of 2026. So we've got almost 2 years until it expires. He doesn't think it's the only remedy to what he perceives to be some potential problems. But again, he doesn't think the Dodgers are a problem. That was the other kind of interesting note to come out of his remarks.
Yeah, and honestly, I was surprised by all of it. One, I like it. Rob Manfred works for the owners, right? And so the Dodgers are the outlier, and them and I guess the Mets, if you want to group them together right now, like they're the two outliers in terms of spending and being aggressive and trying to really go for it financially. So I was a little shocked that Manfred would come out and publicly say, no, they are not. Like, maybe he would sugarcoat it like, well, some people might view it that way. There's pros and cons. But like to say that they're not a problem, I thought was impressive. And I think he gets ridiculed a lot. And so give him credit for standing up to that narrative.
Yeah.
The other thing I thought was interesting was him saying, he doesn't necessarily believe that a salary cap is the only way to go.
Yeah.
I think some of it is he probably knows that if MLB tries to go down that path, like it's not going to happen. And what concerns me, and I don't want to like send this stream down, in a downer because it's still a couple years away, is that there already are talks of a lockout coming because of the financial stuff. And so, it's going to be unfortunate when I'm sure the owners are going to pitch a salary cap. The players are going to say absolutely not. And they're going to say, okay, we're locking you out. Like a lockout shouldn't be inevitable. Like, or just a foregone conclusion, which I felt like the last time the CBA was coming up, it was. And I feel like already now, like we're 2 years out from it, or a year, 2 full seasons from the CBA expiring. and there already is, well, a lockout is going to happen. It's just a matter of will games be lost or not. Like that's not great. And again, like the owners want to, continue lining their pockets. Well, how about like we actually play games on time? We keep growing the sport in that regard. And hey, if they do want a salary cap, then maybe we'll get some parity like we just saw in the NFL, where the Eagles and Chiefs have not played in a Super Bowl recently. The Chiefs have not been making it back to Super Bowls. So that's the type of parity that a salary cap guarantees. So fine. I guess sign me up for that.
Totally. And just again, to reiterate what you just said, the owners would be fine with the salary cap because it limits the amount of money that they can spend. And when I say the owners, I'm saying by and large, the Dodgers would not be in favor of a salary cap because it would hinder them. But 85% of the league would be fine with one. The players do not want one because they don't want anything that is going to limit the amount of money that the players can make by limiting the amount of money that the team like the Dodgers or the Mets could spend. And so at worst, they would maybe say, okay, well, then we need a salary floor that's much higher, like $150 million salary floor. And the owners, half the owners are never going to go for that because half the owners are at like $80 million a year. And so that's where the negotiation is going to happen. It's why many people think a salary cap and a salary floor will never happen because it's just a non-negotiable. Like a salary cap is a non-starter for the players and a salary floor is a non-starter for the owners. It's not even worth arguing about. Now, do they decide to die on those hills? That's the question we're going to find out in a couple of years. But thankfully, we've got 2 World Series to fight for between now and then.
Yeah, and I think last thing, the players would probably, I venture to guess, they're going to argue that there already is a soft salary cap in place with the luxury tax, not only the luxury tax threshold, but then the different tiers of penalties for it. And so I think that they would argue, like, we are already operating under one. Look, it's not like a bunch of teams continue to blow past the luxury tax threshold.
Yeah, totally. And until this year, the Dodgers didn't even really blow past it. Like the Dodgers over the last 3 or 4 years have sort of navigated their way of trying to dip under the cap 1 year to reset the penalties. And so obviously Shohei Ohtani and the money that comes with Shohei Ohtani sort of changed the calculus entirely. But again, Rob Manfred says, hey, the owners have discussed the salary cap, but he doesn't think the cap is the only way forward to sort of maybe navigate some of the challenges that Major League Baseball is currently facing, while also saying, I don't think the Dodgers are a problem. From Baseball and Stan Kasten, Mark Walter. Was it Mark Walter that came out? And
everybody from the Dodgers has said at various points throughout the offseason that no, they're not ruining baseball. And I know I said last thing on my last comment, this is really the last thing. Roki Sasaki's free agency was not a free-for-all. That was effectively operating with some sort of salary cap measures, if you will. Where did he end up signing?
Yeah, for less money, by the way.
So are we sure that a salary cap is going to prevent, the Dodgers from allocating all this talent? Like, give me a break.
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair.